Hello and welcome to another Company of Heroes 3 game. My name is Fancy Josh, and today we've got a game between StephennJF as our Africa Corps and Noah as our British. Map today is going to be Road to Tunis, 4-quadrant map, 4 cutoff points in a cross across the map there. The cutoff points on the road are pretty easy to get, although they do require you to dive. And players generally don't go for these outer points just because they are so far away from anything interesting. British player immediately locking in the Australian battle group and calling in an Australian light infantry after their first rail engineer being added on. 2 Panzer Grenadiers from our Africa Corps player. Looks like both players interested in going for their fuel across the road. Yeah, excited to see what our players have in mind. British player adding on the section command post. Probably going to see him add on a... Oh, I was going to say a dingo, but I actually don't know what he wants to do. Can't imagine he's adding that on for the infantry section. So I would expect either a dingo or a mortar, but it feels a little bit early for a mortar. Quiet start here. No worries there. Both players picking up their fuel. And I expect we're going to see some rotations here. British player may go for this cutoff point on the road here. I think would be really good. British player is adding on an infantry section. So that's an interesting decision. A lot of times when you see folks go for the Australian defense battle group, they'll just add on Australian light infantry for days and days. But not this British player. German player adding on a 250 half-track. Might see it go after these Royal Engineers after picking up the Panzer Pioneers. Does seem to be the case. Is going to prevent the full capture here. Panzer Pioneers going to have to bail out, probably. Being surrounded on multiple sides there. Is going to bail out. German player chasing down these Royal Engineers, not going to get anything done though. Infantry section stopping that from happening. Second infantry section being added on here. So yeah, this is a cool little build. British player, it's not usual to see a mix of infantry units, so I like it. Curious to see what our British player is going to add on next. Can't imagine he'll keep going for infantry sections. Typically folks stop around 3. Royal Engineers continuing to be annoying, trying to pick up yet another important point from our German. Not going to get it, of course. Well done by our German to keep his points out of his opponent's hands with this 250. Have a machine gun coming out for our Africa Corps player. Recce package being added on by this infantry section. Gonna give him access to those flares and artillery barrages if he wants to. Of course, it also increases his effectiveness at long range. Here comes an artillery barrage to drive away the German off this point. Looks like the Australian light infantry thinking about capturing there. The Australian light infantry, of course, have increased capture rate compared to their infantry section counterparts. Heavy machine gun getting set up, though. Gonna suppress all those infantry. German players added on the grenade launcher upgrade to those engineers. Was thinking about chasing, but gonna be stopped by this section in this house. British players added on the 2-pounder anti-tank gun to deal with this half-track. 2-pounder, of course, also good against the flak half-track that Africa Corps players love to add on. So, am I tripping here? Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So, I misspoke there. Our German player's gone for this Panzerjäger command, which immediately grants anybody that garrisons a 250 half-track with a grenade launcher. And in addition to that, he has upgraded this infantry section, this Panzer Pioneer to have their own grenade launchers, effectively doubling up on the grenade launchers. So those units are going to be extremely effective. 2-pounder barraging this building. I love seeing players use their AT against buildings. It's actually very effective. Artillery barrage coming out. Basically not letting that heavy machine gun have that house at all. 250 running into a mine left behind by our British player. Barely surviving. And it looks like while I've been busy looking at the action, our German player has, our British player has been busy adding on all sorts of field defenses over here, including this Sangar wall, which is reminiscent of the, I forget what it was called in Company of Heroes 2, but the Soviets could add on just like a barrier. It's like a sandbag wall, but it was bigger and it built much faster. Of course, in this game, the Sangar wall has barbed wire built into it. So, kind of a cool little thing there. Our player is going to have all 3 victory points here. And despite the fact that our British player's done a better job, he's going to have to respond to that fairly quickly if he doesn't want to bleed too fast. Rail engineers being upgraded with the flamethrower there, pushing away those Panzer Pioneers out of that building. 2-pounder did get a shot on that 250. Top side blinking. Both colors here. Both players try and steal away points from one another. Rail engineers trying to add on sandbags here. Do like that he's trying to do that. Of course, this heavy machine gun's going to interrupt that process, pinning the unit and preventing that capture from happening. Didn't finish the job though, so the Royal Engineers are going to stay there. Infantry section not actually in heavy cover here. And I'm not sure heavy cover is where you want to be against grenade launchers, right? The units get more clustered up. You can see more dudes taking damage from a single blast there. And a nice flank by these... Nice flanks from all directions here. 2-pounder taking shots there. British player trying to be annoying over here. Trying to capture away this cutoff point, but those Panzerjäger are there to prevent that from happening. And it looks like folks are going to trade halves of the map here. I do like that our German player added on the mechanized Panzerjäger there to give himself another 250. He's doing a really, really good job keeping his half-tracks alive. British player, of course, is added on this armored car. And our German player is adding on a Stug D for that infantry capability. And very cool builds from both players here. .250 gonna chase away these Royal Engineers here, using his superior mobility to get all over the map. Armored car helping out his infantry here, gonna drive away this heavy machine gun. And yeah, this is cool. I love seeing Africa Corps players use the high mobility of their of their army. Right, it's high mobility but highly fragile, especially in the early game. Stug D coming in. 2-pounder not quite positioned. Stug D gonna get a shot on the 2-pounder here. Taking huge damage there. 2-pounder gonna move though. Might lose it on the retreat, but shouldn't lose it to his opponent. Might see him come in with these infantry sections for an AT grenade. Panzer Grenadiers getting up alongside here. This building is in really bad shape, so it can't stay there for long. We are going to see some AT grenades from our British player here. Stug D dealing huge damage to these clustered up units. Armored car helping out. Looks like he's trying to focus down the Panzerjäger, but again, taking huge damage from being clustered up like that. Panzer Royal Engineers trying to get in there, but not able to capture the unit in the face of that anti-infantry MG there. 2-pounder getting shots on the Stug. Stug has pretty high armor though, so going to bounce a lot of those 2-pounder shots. And despite all the action, both players walking away with relatively even territory control here. British player is going to have to... is going to come out behind on victory points there, and that's okay. Using that scout car wisely, just tinking away at that 250, chipping away there. Very light infantry pushing in. Gonna have to answer to this Stug D though. I don't think they want to be in that house. Getting out just in time. May see him go for this fuel point. Actually gonna flank the heavy machine gun. Nicely done there. German responding. Both players wanting to fight right here. Infantry sections clustered up though, gonna take damage, big damage from that Stug D artillery barrage coming out, blocking the British player, blocking the German from coming out much further. Smoke grenade coming out from these Panzer Pioneers. Like he was thinking about capturing that point, but didn't quite follow up on it. Risky place to be in this house. This could easily go down to just one shot. Royal Engineers getting in close there. And having to retreat in the face of that Stug D. 2-pounder getting good shots on this Stug. Actually has a 6-pounder as well, which is actually the one doing the penetration here. Adding on another 6-pounder is our British player. I like that response. He is dealing with 2 Stug Ds at this point. German player adding on a Martyr 3 here for that anti-tank capability. British player has not yet teched up to medium tanks, so the only tank on the field is this armored car. But yeah, and it looks like our German player changed his mind at the last second, going for this recovery vehicle, which is an unusual choice. I don't think we've seen any vehicles go down just yet, so probably going to be using that for its repair capabilities. 6-pounders chipping away at that Stug. It looks like this is going to be the type of Road to Tunis game where both players sort of set up just outside their base here and fight big time over the middle, and then rotate to the sides as they see fit. Nice job by our British player, managing to pick up all 3 victory points for a short period of time there. German quick to respond though. Armored car, gonna drive away these Panzer Pioneers, Panzer Grenadiers rather. And German player is going to finish adding on that Martyr 3. Pounders covering both sides of this house, but big armored push by our German here. AT guns getting good angles. Barrage coming in from our German player there. He's going to pick up one of the 250s. Another 6-pounder set up. Can't quite get that half track. British player running for his life with those vehicles. And looks like our German's going to dive all the way. He is going to pick up at least one of these 6-pounders. Managed to pick up a 2-pounder as well. German player might want to consider taking away these AT guns from his opponent, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Duke D's barely surviving. Is going to mount this 6-pounder and should get a shot. Nope, not quite. Not set up in time. Doesn't have vision. 2-pounder is going to be captured here. Okay, and I'm a doofus here. I thought our German player was adding on the recovery half-track, but of course he added on the reconnaissance tractor there, which is really nice for him. Going to let him scan out where his opponent is in the fog of war. He's going to let him know where those AT guns are before he needs to move in. Destroyer maybe shooting at that sandbag wall there. Yeah, nice push by our German. Managed to put the British player on the back foot, remind him who's boss. Of course, the British player, while all that was happening, has done an excellent job controlling the victory points. So while the push was scary, it ultimately didn't accomplish a whole lot. In fact, this infantry section managed to pick up both the victory point and the fuel. So well done by him. Australian light infantry sitting at long range with those scoped rifles. Duke D holding down this center point though. Reconnaissance tractor using the smoke grenades there, letting him close in here. Does know that the armored car and AT guns are in the area. Duke D gonna push away the Royal Engineers there. And we're going to see a mortar barrage from our tractor here. Going to push away those AT guns. Duke D setting up on this side as well. Barraging his opponent. AT grenade going to come out, force that Duke back. Smoke grenades coming out of the scout car to cover this Australian light infantry while they capture this point. Infantry section working together with this AT gun, but having to retreat there. Flare from our British player to be able to see where all these units are. And I'm over here thinking that both players need a little bit of indirect fire. Wow, oddly enough, our German players added on a second recon tractor. That's something I do not see ever. So it looks like he wants to be using more of those call-ins. So I guess he has the indirect fire he needs, right? In the form of 2 reconnaissance tractors, going to be able to barrage away the AT guns, right? Anytime they get set up, he just throws down smoke, or he throws down light artillery to damage the units themselves. That's very cool. And our German player has managed to establish himself, reaching out to this bottom side a little bit. Gonna let him, like I said, control that center and then rotate off. Oddly enough, and he doesn't know this, all he needs to do is send one squad up to that top side for some free real estate. He's doing that now, going for the cutoff point. 6-pounder's not able to penetrate the Stug's armor at maximum range. Armor car going to have to back up. Reconnaissance tractor a little far forward there. Barely going to get it out with a smoke grenade. Good penetrations by the AT guns on that Stug, and of course the artillery barrage helping out. Get some hits on that reconnaissance tractor there. 6-pounder still unable to penetrate the front armor of this Stug. Might get a side armor hit there. That's nice for him. Australian light infantry going for the victory point, and I think that our German player, or excuse me, I think that our British player has rightly identified that this is all about the victory points for him at this stage in the game. So, not too concerned about this cutoff point. At least not in the short term. British player did lose the scout car. Well, did he call? I think he may have called it off the map. I saw it alive while this Crusader 2, excuse me, Matilda 2 heavy tank. I cannot recognize units by their icons, so I apologize. In any case, adding on that Matilda 2, really beefy tank. I think that's actually a good add here. Okay, surely this is the recovery half-track. It is. Okay, I'm not tripping this time. So what I was trying to say there is I like this Matilda 2 here because he doesn't actually need a lot of anti-tank capability. He needs an infantry support tank, and that's what this thing provides. Unfortunately for our British player, I think he's going to lose this AT gun. Is getting some side hits with this Matilda, though, but not able to penetrate that front armor with that weak units. But of course, bouncing the 6-pounder there with that heavy front armor, 260, is going to damage the unit back. And he's going to be able to get his 6-pounder back, which is actually very important for him. He doesn't have a ton of manpower to spare, so... I do like this foot guard section add-on from our British player. He's dealing with a lot of vehicles. This unit is good against vehicles and infantry. And what I actually really like about this unit is at Veterancy 2, so it gets harder to hit at every Veterancy level. So 20% at Vet 1, 20% at Vet 2, and that is a substantial bonus, allowing this unit to be very strong at capturing territory. Of course, the Stug Ds are still pretty good against this unit because it's not about the harder to hit, it's about the damage that comes out from that AoE. Mind arms here, 6-pounders moving up to support the foot guards and infantry sections there. AT units setting up here. Looks like he's focusing the Martyr 3s, interestingly enough. Smoke grenades coming out from our German player here, blocking line of sight. This is not a place this AT gun wants to be. Infantry section's getting way up in the face of his opponent there. Is going to lose his AT gun a bit far forward. Doesn't have any units in the area to recapture. I wouldn't mind seeing our German player destroy this. Looks like our British player is going to do that instead. Does not want his opponent capturing his 6-pounder, and I would tend to agree with that decision. Matilda moving forward to cover this AT gun. Stug D's getting some good hits. Martyr 3 is going to push on this Matilda, it looks like. Royal Engineers coming to try and slow down anything that's happening here. Matilda getting behind the building. 6-pounder going to make it, just barely. Matilda hiding behind the house from these Martyrs. Martyr is going to get an angle there. He's going to have to continue to back up. Might see a smoke screen here. 2-pounder trying to help out. Is getting some good penetration on the front armor of that Stug. And this is really nice from our German player. This is what I've been wanting him to do all game, which is send a single squad up there, pick up some territory. Big push from our British player here, going to try and save this center point. Artillery barrage coming out from those recon tractors. Going to push away this heavy machine gun. But he is going to save that middle point. Meanwhile, German player capturing this bottom section away. Looks like our British player is going to translate his infantry into this top side. That should work out just fine for him. Matilda having to back away as well from the second mortar barrage there. Infantry section holding down this point. Both units just barely out of vision range from one another. Recovery half-track repairing up all his units here. Artillery barrage finally going to bring down that building. So I believe this building is a walkable structure, so when it's destroyed, units can walk through it, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Stug D's set up really far forward, going to barrage these units. 6-pounder getting smoked out there. And Australian Light Infantry going to get grenaded there. Should make it out okay. 6-pounder repositioning. Not in range, though. And wow, what an impressive front line from our German here. Adding on another Martyr 3. That is his third Martyr 3. What's he up to now? 2 tractors, 2 Stug Ds, a 250 light carrier, a repairer, recovery half-track, and he's going to have 3 Martyr 3s. That's just a crazy composition. Not something you see very often. 6-pounder going to have to move. Did manage to get to level 2, but is going to lose that veterancy, unfortunately for him. Infantry section ignoring these tanks and just diving on this point. I think that's totally fine, as long as they don't get wiped by the Stug D. Stug D not in long-range mode there. What's that called? Firing position mode. Did manage to decapture the point, so he is ticking his opponent down. Panzer Grenadiers set up in the middle here. Taking this center point. Matilda trying to help out. Martyr 3 is going to probably collapse here on this Matilda. Smoke grenades covering his infantry there. Attacking ground through the smoke. And as expected, the Martyr 3s are thinking about collapsing on this Matilda. Matilda actually moving forward. Very risky there, covering the escape of his foot guards. Matilda trying to blast the Stug, not a great choice. He is going to smoke grenade out of there. Might see some attack grounds by the Matildas. Not going to happen. Big front line here. Matilda, 6-pounder going to get blasted by the Stug D there. Heavy machine gun set up, but not going to do a whole lot. Another artillery barrage going to save this center point. German player recognizing the victory point situation for what it is. Stug D trying to pick up this 6-pounder. And Martyr 3 is going to come in and finish the job on that 6-pounder. 2-pounder trying to blast from long range. Infantry section tanking here. Matilda coming in from the side. That is not a fight it's going to win against all these Martyr 3s. Artillery barrage doing a good job dislodging those vehicles. Matilda might be dead here. Not quite, didn't have vision. Section barely going to get out of there. And wow, this game is right on a knife's edge. German player with a unit superiority, but our British player with a substantial victory point lead. Bazooka's getting in close there, penetrating a number of times there. Stug D getting aggressive on this 2-pounder. Maybe trying to pick up the foot guard on the retreat. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. Matilda not high enough health to help out here. That's the dead 2-pounder. Might see our German bring in some Martyrs to destroy that anti-tank gun. And minefields from our German player preventing those Australian Light Infantry from capturing there. And that is a dead 2-pounder. Australian light infantry ought to make it out here. It's going to be close. Barely making it. And yeah, this is looking pretty dire for our British player here at the end. See if he's got any tricks up his sleeve here at the end. He does have the archer tank at his disposal. Oh wow, those mortars can call in on a base? That's crazy. That seems like an oversight to me. Wow, double barraging there, costing our British player a ton of manpower, and taking out the medical bunker. I did not know that the German could do that. German tightening the noose here. And yeah. What a fun little game. That was a cool build out of our German. Just adding on a ton of medium tanks. And, you know, despite the fact that our British player was able to control the victory points extremely effectively, it just felt like he was constantly dealing with an uphill battle against all those vehicles. And yeah, beautifully played by both players. I hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as I did, and I will see you in the next video.